Tank crews of the 3rd Mechanized Brigade of the Ukrainian Armed Forces attacked Russian army positions in one of the occupied villages of the Kharkiv region. The Ukrainian fighters fired at the occupiers' hiding places, half-destroyed houses, at close range using 2 tanks. Although the tanks were targeted by Russian drones, this did not stop them. The tank crews quickly extinguished a fire that broke out inside the tank after a drone strike and continued their operation. Several drones missed their target, which helped the Ukrainian fighters complete the mission successfully and pull back from the area. Video of Ukraine's drone attacks on Russian positions has been released in social media. The dramatic footage captures the moment of first-person view drone strikes on a number of Russian military equipment, such as tanks, armored vehicles, motorcycles that are moving in the front line and are destroyed following relentless attacks. The attack disrupted Russian offensive. The successful operation illustrates the effectiveness of Ukrainian drones and underlines Kiev's superiority in the technological war with Russia. Ukraine has widely used drones in the war of invasion launched by Russia in February 2022. Drones are believed to be responsible for around 3/4 of Russia's battlefield casualties in the war, with Kiev creating a drone wall of around 10 kilometers in depth along the front line. Kyiv has been deploying an expanding arsenal of long-range drones to strike strategic targets in occupied Ukrainian territories as well as deep inside Russia. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky earlier this month announced plans for mass production of domestic drones and missiles by the end of the year. Russia's surface fleet is experiencing problems that the country's leadership failed to foresee. This opinion was expressed by Chris Osborne, president of the Warrior Maven Center for Military Modernization and a former Pentagon official, in his article for the National Security Journal. According to him, the country's only aircraft carrier, the Admiral Kuznetsov, is still undergoing repairs or a protracted modernization. This is not due to a lack of funding, but simply because Moscow doesn't know what to do with this ship or what the future prospects for the entire fleet are. A conceptual and paradigm shift is imminent, the expert believes. The operation is diverting the lion's share of the state's attention and leaving the military shipbuilding industry somewhat in the shadows while it considers and analyzes its prospects. However, as Osborne writes, while Moscow ponders it, Russia is effectively left without a fully fledged surface fleet in the modern sense. It lacks several key ships. It's clear that at the moment, Russia has no need to rush to overcome the difficulties its navy has been facing in recent years. There's no pressing need to use it right now, but for a superpower projecting global maritime power, a navy is essential as a sign of, the expert explained. According to Osborne, if Russia wanted to compete with the United States in terms of global naval power, it could achieve this, but not immediately. The entire sphere would require a restructuring. This will take the next decade. The American analyst acknowledges that even now Moscow has sufficient resources to pose an incredibly dangerous adversary for Europe and the United States. However, to gain influence and realize its ambitions beyond the European continent, Russia will need a much more impressive naval presence and development. The best example is the icebreaker fleet. Several years ago, Russia placed its bets on the Arctic and this type of fleet, and achieved success, unlike the United States, which initially built warships. The same could happen with the Navy, Osborne is confident. To compete with NATO and the US, Russia will have to build new aircraft carriers, the expert continues. Without them, Moscow will be unable to project its power from the sea and do so anywhere in the world, for example, in the Black Sea or Africa. Such capabilities currently do not exist. A modern superpower cannot rely solely on cruise missiles, Osborne concludes. Recall, thanks to the effective performance of naval drones, Ukraine destroyed at least a third of Russia's Black Sea fleet. Deep State co-founder Roman Pohorely said, "A third of the Russian Federation's Black Sea fleet is currently at the bottom of the Black Sea thanks to surface drones. Thanks to them, we were able to unblock navigation routes in order to transport grain. As a result, the enemy is now afraid to deploy ships in the Black Sea."